Hello everyone, my name is Kirandeep and in this video we are going to learn about conflict management. So what is a conflict first? So we all have our likes, our dislikes. We have different perceptions, different point of views. And when two people don't share the same perspective, they don't have the same opinion on something, it mostly leads to a conflict. So we all must have been in this kind of a situation where we face a disagreement, and that is a conflict. So in this video, we are going to learn how to manage, how to deal with conflicts, and how to come out of it in a in a way in which we don't get that affected. So the first is, what does a conflict mean? First, we're going to learn about it. Then reasons, what are the reasons of a conflict? Then what are the stages of conflict? Then effects, importance of conflict management, and conflict resolution tips. At the end of the video, we are going to see some tips which helps us to deal with the conflicts in a better way. First, what is a conflict? Like I said, a conflict is a struggle and a clash of interest, opinion, or even some principles. So, whenever there is a clash of opinions or a perspective or liking, your dislikes, all these things leads to some kind of disagreement, and that leads to a conflict. So whenever two people don't have a same opinion on something or a same perspective on something, that most of the time leads to a conflict. Now there are basically two types of conflict. First can be the intrapersonal and the second one is interpersonal. Intrapersonal is when we have a conflict within ourselves, and the second one is when we have a conflict with somebody else, with a second person. Okay, so basically interpersonal is between two people. Next, the basis of conflict may vary to be personal or class, caste, political, or international. So it can be because of any reason. It can be because of caste, it can be because of religion, it can be because of some personal reasons, or maybe some class, or the nationality issues. It can be because of any reason. So this is what a conflict means. Coming to the reasons, what are the reasons of conflict? First is the misunderstanding. So every day we meet people and we might feel that they have a different sort of point of view, they have a different opinion. And when two people don't know how to come on a common ground, that leads to a conflict. So the first is a misunderstanding. So if maybe you had a misunderstanding with somebody at work, or maybe with a friend of yours, that misunderstanding can further lead to a conflict. Then lack of role clarification. So in case suppose you are told that you are maybe at a executive post, but the kind of work, the kind of job role that is being given to you is quite different. So that kind of confusion might lead to conflict in the future. So if your role is not clarified to you, that can also be one of the reasons of conflict. Next, poor communication. If there is not a proper channel of communication, if there is no good channel, a right channel of communication, depending on the type of organization or the maybe the type of situation, even that can lead to conflicts. So if first, because this is the most important thing, we must communicate, and if there is no proper communication, then there are a lot of chances to have conflicts. Then goal differences. Suppose there are two employees, and there is a difference of goal, their aims is different, so might even that can be a reason of conflict. Then information deficiency. If there is insufficient information, if the person is working on some role but that person is not having enough information about it, even that can be a reason of conflict. Then organizational changes. Maybe a person is working in xyz company and now is being has maybe he is being uh, asked to leave the job, or maybe he himself has left the job, resigned from the job role, and now he has to shift to some other city, to some other place to some other company, even that kind of organizational changes can lead to conflicts, because a person is new to everybody, that person will be new to everyone, and even that kind of thing, a situation can lead to conflicts. Then lack of trust. If there is no trust, this is the most common reason of conflicts between people. If people don't have trust, so trust is the basis of good bond, good relationships. So if there is no trust, then of course it will lead to a lot of disagreements, a lot of problems, and of course a lot of conflicts. So if there is lack of trust between maybe two friends or two colleagues, or maybe the manager and the employee, or maybe in a relationship, it is assured that you will face a lot of conflicts. So if there is lack of trust, it is also a reason of conflict. Then personal differences. So if you have some personal differences, some personal grudges, even that can lead to conflict. And the last is threat to status. If you feel that there is some kind of threat to status, maybe something has happened and that may lead to some problem, even that can be one of the reasons to conflict. Now, next on the slide, we'll be talking about stages of conflict. So there are certain stages of conflict. We'll be discussing them one by one. The first is latent conflict. So this is a stage in which the person is not aware of the conflict. Basically, the person doesn't actually knows that there can be a situation, maybe this kind of a disagreement might lead to a conflict in the future. So people are not aware of a conflicting situation in this first stage. The second is perceived conflict. This is a conflict, this is a stage of conflict in which people can actually see now that okay, there is some kind of changes that can be seen, and this can definitely lead to conflict in the future. So in this stage, conflict arising of a conflict can be seen. Next is felt conflict. So in this, it can be clearly seen. It is completely evident that there is a conflicting situation. Maybe there is a change in the people's behavior, or maybe there are some people are being shifted to some other department. If these kind of situations are being seen, it means that definitely there is a situation of conflict in the organization or in that place. So in this stage, the conflict can be seen, clearly seen and felt. The fourth one is manifest conflict. Now in this, whatever you felt, whatever it was seen, or whatever was perceived that okay, this might lead to this might lead to a fight, this might lead to a disagreement, you can actually see that. So that is why it is always said to be manifest conflict. So in this, whatever was manifested, it actually happens, and there is a full-fledged conflict. And the last is conflict aftermath. Conflict aftermath is the last stage of conflict. Basically, the aftermath, as the name suggests. So, what happens after the conflict? Once the maybe the disagreement or that kind of a situation is over, so what it was the outcome? Was it positive or it was negative? Maybe how the people reacted, they came on a common ground, or they were maybe shifted to some different departments. So the conflict aftermath is basically a stage after the conflict that has happened. Okay, so next we'll be discussing the effects of conflict. So we have seen what are the reasons of conflict, then what are the different stages of conflict. Now, what is the effect of conflict on people as well as on the organization? So conflict have both positive and negative effects. So it's not that कि अगर conflict है, it is a negative word, so definitely इसके effects negative ही होंगे. It's not like that. So it has both the positive and the negative effects. Let's look at the negative effects first, which is also the called as the dysfunctional conflict. So जो भी conflict होती है जिसका effect negative होता है on the person, on the organization, that is called a dysfunctional conflict. That is also a type of conflict. So if we see what is the effect, negative effect of a conflict on individuals, it is the emotional distress. You feel emotionally drained. It affects a person a lot on an emotional level. That person might feel very low, very negative, and also very snappy. Then reduced job satisfaction, because he or she is facing such kind of a situation within within their office with his or her own colleagues. So it gets very difficult for that person to work there, and automatically it leads to the reduced job satisfaction. Next, decreased productivity. Automatically, this will happen. The productivity will be decreased, because if you're not happy from here, if you're not satisfied from your head, then it will affect your work. It will affect everything eventually. So, this kind of a situation, the negative effects of conflict definitely is the decreased productivity on an individual. Then, strained relationship. If you have a disagreement, if you have had a bad conflict with somebody, a bad situation with somebody, that automatically leads to strained relationship. It is no longer the same as it was before. So strained relationships. And last is the physical health impact. So it affects your physical health as well, because if you're not happy from here, it will lead to certain physical ailments as well, if it is not addressed in time. Then if we talk about the organization, so what is the effect of a negative conflict on an organization? The first is decreased organizational performance. So if the employees are not happy, if they are having conflicts, then how is it possible that the organization will be able to do well? Of course not, right? So that is why it will lead to decreased organizational performance. Also, decline in innovation and creativity, because people will be so upset from here, they will not be able to focus on their work and give their 100% there, and that will affect the organization, and it will definitely decline the innovation creativity within the organization. Then increased cost. It will lead, maybe people will start going start sitting in the different office, in the different department. They will look for different alternatives to not face the person with whom they have had a conflict. So these kind of things leads to increased cost. Next, decreased employee engagement. You will see that if there is a conflict within an organization, within the employees, you will see that the people there are not that engaged in each and every activity of the organization, because if they are not in that headspace, and that affects their engagement as well. Then damage to organizational culture. It is always said that the mental stability, the mental health, and the work satisfaction of an employee depends a lot on the work culture of the organization. So if there is a organization, if there are a lot of conflicts in the organization, it will affect its culture in the longer run, and that will lead to a bad image as well. So here we discussed all the negative effects, or basically the dysfunctional conflict and its effect on individuals and on the organization. Next is the positive effects. Yes. So we all, maybe most of you must have thought कि conflict is a negative word. Conflict means disagreement. So इसका कोई positive effect कैसे हो सकता है? But no, it's not like that. कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स को अगर हम, दैट इज वाई वी आर स्टडिंग दिस, राइट, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट मैनेजमेंट. दैट इज वाई दिस टॉपिक इज देयर इन सॉफ्ट skills, because if you know how to deal with these kind of situations, with these kind of clashes, it will lead to actually the positive effects. So that is why, yes, it is there are some positive effects of conflicts as well. And basically the positive conflict is also called functional conflict. So let's look at its effects on an individual. So first is personal growth. How? See, what happens is when there is a conflict, you will, if you are open to different, to understand the other person's opinion, you will get to learn a lot from them, from their perspective as well. And that will automatically add up to your level of knowledge, and it will lead to personal growth. Then improved problem solving skill, because you are not there to fight, you are not there to, get into those disagreements. You are there to solve the problem, to solve the conflicts. So it will improve the problem solving skills of the individuals. Then strengthen relationship. If you have had a bad conflict with somebody, a bad, you are in a disagreement with someone on something, and you happen to solve it, and you happen to understand it, and you people happen to come on a common ground. So that kind of compromise and that kind of maturity will lead to better relationship with that person. So that is why it definitely adds up to your relationships. You become good in holding the relationships. Then enhanced communication skills, you will be definitely able to say what's on your mind clearly, and also at the same time you will be able to calmly listen to the person, actively listen to the person, and this will enhance your communication skill. This is a positive effect of conflict. Then increased empathy and understanding. Once you are there to solve the problem, once you are there to take these conflicts, these kind of situations also in a positive way, you will be there, you will show empathy to people, and also you will understand the person, you will listen to them, you will understand their situation, and then you will respond. So this will be again a positive effect. And assertiveness and self advocacy, you will be able to say no when important, you will be able to, you will see a increase in your assertiveness and improvement in the way you respond. And also you will be able to advocate yourself, you will be able to support your own points in the right way. Then if we talk about the positive effects of a conflict on an organization, the first is enhanced creativity and innovation. Like in the previous slide we saw that one of the the negative effect of conflict was that it decreases the creativity and innovation in an organization, and the complete opposite of it will be the positive effect. That is, if the people are happy there, if the people are mature there, if they are good in communication, if they have the solving skills, they have empathy and understanding, it will automatically lead to a better creativity and innovative environment within the organization. Then improved decision making, people will be clear headed, they will know what is right and what is wrong, and they know how to come on common grounds and then solve the problem, and this will lead to a better decision making. Then increased collaboration and team building, this will again collaboration, if people know how to solve their conflicts, if people know how to accept disagreements in a positive way and look for solutions, it will improve the collaboration and also the team building. Then organizational learning and growth, people will be there as the first point we discussed, it leads to personal growth. People will be open to learn, people will be open to listen to everyone, understand their perspective, and that will automatically add up to their level of knowledge. And that is why it will be a positive effect will be organizational learning and growth. And the last one is increased adaptability and change, because people will be not resistant to change. They will accept things and they will look for the best way to deal with it. So that is why it will lead to increased adaptability and change. Next is the importance. So we saw what is the effect of what are the effects of a conflict. It is both positive and negative. So now after understanding all these things about a conflict, we are going to see the importance of conflict management. Why is it important to know how to manage, how to deal with a conflict? So first, resolution and peaceful coexistence. So if you know how to manage a conflict properly, it will actually give you a lot of good results. Why? Because you will know how to resolve, and you will know how to peacefully coexist, how to collaborate with people, even after knowing that they have a different opinion, they have different perspective, you will still know how to work with them, also work with a good with a good feeling in your heart. So that is one of the most important thing about conflict management. Then improved communication, it improves your communication. If you know that how to manage a conflict, it will automatically lead to better communication, you will be good at communication, you will be able to openly share your opinions and also understand the other persons as well. Then enhanced problem solving, like we discussed earlier, it leads to enhanced problem solving skills. Then increased productivity, because why? If you know how to manage your conflict, your mind will be completely on doing more and more giving your 100% at whatever you do, at your work, and that will lead to increased productivity. Then personal and professional development, it will add up to your knowledge. The more you will talk to people, the more you will interact with people, and the more disagreements you face, you will get to learn different perspective. You will be able to understand people, and that will add up to your knowledge, to your maturity level, and that will lead to personal as well as your personal professional development, because you will be seen as a person who always is looking for solving the problem rather than creating a problem. Then prevention of escalation, it leads to prevention of escalation a lot of times. Then positive organizational culture, like we discussed earlier, again it lead, if people know how to manage conflict, it will create a very positive working culture in your organization. Then sustainable relationship, which means a long term, a persistent relationship. So if people know how to manage the conflicts, if they know how to deal with these clashes, it will lead to better relationship. They will be able to build good bonds with people in the workplace and also in the personal life, and those relationships will be long term relationships. Okay, so last on we as I told you that on the last slide we will be discussing about the tips. I will be giving you some tips. So how can you deal with conflict, how to resolve the conflicts? The first is stay calm and composed. This is very important. Always be very calm and composed. If you see that somebody is really irritated and is going to snap on you, you just be there calm and composed. Look them into their eye and talk to them, but all calm and composed. Do not react immediately. Let the other person speak. Let the other person say whatever they have to say, and then respond. So be calm and composed always when you are dealing with such situation. Then listen actively. Don't just hear, don't just listen for the sake of it. Actually actively listen to that person. Try to understand what they have to say, why are they so irritated, or what is the basic, the reason of that conflict. So listen actively, only then you will know how to tackle that situation. Then express yourself clearly. Do not get lost in words. Okay, try to be very clear with your views, with whatever you have to say on that situation, and say it clearly. Express yourself very clearly and precisely. Then seek a common ground. Like I was saying this throughout the video, you should make sure that, okay, I'm not saying that you should completely change yourself and you should completely agree to what the other person has to say. No, but try to find a common ground always, because this works most of the times. So seek a common ground. Try to find a common ground. First, listen to the person, understand what that person has to say, and then respond, then share your opinion, and then try to find a common ground so that both of you agree on it. Then find a compromise. If not, then find a compromise. Okay, if this is not working, let's find something else. Let's look for a different solution. Then practice empathy. Be empathetic. One of the tips was, we earlier discussed about empathy. So if you're having this one skill, if you know empathy, if you know how to empathize with people, it will help you a lot in your life. And the same, if I talk about conflicts, if I talk about resolving conflicts, if you have empathy, if you know how to empathize with the person, how to actually understand their situation and then respond to it, it will solve half of your problems. So that is why practice empathy, understand the other person's situations, put yourself in the other person's shoes, and then understand their situation and then respond to it. And then the second last one is avoid personal attack. Do not do personal attacks, especially when you are in a conflicting situation, because that one comment leads to a lot of problems later on. So do not do this. Do not do personal attacks on the person. Then take responsibility of your action. Learn to apologize. Learn to say sorry. It's completely okay. There is no ego clashes here. If you feel that it was your mistake, or maybe this one sorry can solve some problem, do it. Apologize. You can say, I apologize for that. It's okay. Let's talk about it. And this will solve a lot of your problem, and the other person will also feel good about it. So take responsibility of your actions always. Okay, so coming to the conclusion, conflict management plays a very important role in promoting understanding, collaboration, and harmonious coexistence among individuals and groups, leading to positive outcomes in various settings. So it leads to collaboration, and it increases the level of understanding as well. So make sure that you understand the person. Always try to look for a common ground and then share your opinion, and definitely try to solve the problem as soon as possible. Try to solve the conflicts as soon as possible. So I hope that you got to learn something new in this video, and do subscribe to our channel for more such videos. Thank you.